and we're going to target that div with the ID of logo. Okay, and we want to add some spacing inside of here. We want to add some padding. We're going to set this guy to 85 pixels, 0.25 pixels, like that, to add some spacing inside of logo. Next, we're going to add a gradient background color. Now in the completed code, you're going to see I've already kind of come across a gradient that looks quite nice. It's sort of like a white to a light gray fade. And I'm not going to paste the code for the exact same one here, but what I want to show you is a site you can use as a resource to generate the CSS for gradients if you want to have a background color fade inside of an element like this logo panel. So if I go back to my browser and I open up a new tab, we can type in CSS3 and we'll type in gradient generator. Oh, it's already coming up there. And we typed in gradient generator like this, CSS3 gradient generator. And we're going to go to this, this site has a really nice one. It's called colorzilla.com/gradient editor is the URL, which you can see here. And there's actually a ton of these out there. You can try different ones if you like. And they have all these presets, so if you find kind of like a color fade that looks good for you, you can just go ahead and use one of the presets. The way this works is you can click and drag to move the location of these color stops. You can add more color stops by just like clicking underneath it like that, and then you can go ahead and change the color. So for example, if I make like a different color gray there, it will fade from like white to gray and back. If you want to get rid of these, if you click on them and pull them downward away from that slider, the color slider, it'll just make them disappear. So for example, if I want this one here to be like a little bit of a light gray, almost off-white, I can, that's actually good. This is all the hex value EEE. And down here, if we want to make this a little darker, we could just like drop this back a little bit like that. And that'll fade from like an off-white, light gray to a slightly medium gray, like that. You can see that, you know, there's different types of gradients. You could do like horizontal, a diagonal to make it fade from one color to the other, or like a radial, which will fade from the outside to the inside in a circle shape. We're just going to keep it as vertical for this example. And the nice thing about this is it gives you a user interface to create the gradient that you want, and you can size it to the approximation of your element, or you can even punch in exactly the size of your element here. And it gives you all the CSS code down here. And you can see it's actually quite a lot of code. Currently, to get gradients to work in all the different browsers, unfortunately, there's actually a pretty heavy amount of CSS code to write here. What we're going to do is we're going to click this little button here in the corner that says copy, and that will copy all the code for us. And then we can go ahead and come in here to the logo style, and we can paste that in there. And this massive block of code wouldn't have been very fun for me to write, so I just used that website to kind of generate this for me. And we'll go ahead and save that. And let's come back to the browser here and see what that looks like. So now we're going to add that gradient fill here, and I will refresh. And that looks pretty cool. I'm digging it. Okay.